Radio X, live from Studio 5, helping you connect with the EU. This is Radio X.
This is Owen Stafford for Radio X, and I am at the HUB University in Stormstraat in the city centre of Brussels at the JCI Your Heart in Europe event. This is the fourth such event here in Brussels. We reported on the last one in December, which was a resounding success. Its aim is to set young people in Europe and indeed here in Brussels on the right career path and making the right choices. So for a bit more information, I'm joined by quite a few people sitting around me here willing to talk to Radio X. First of all, I'll go over to Kamil, who's one of the main initiators. Kamil Mroz, you've been on our show before, so welcome back to Radio X. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks a lot, Owen, for having us and interviewing us here today. It's great to have Radio X as our partner, as it has been from the very beginning of the project. Today, as you can see...
Yeah, how's it gone?
Yeah, the event's been, once again, a great success. This time around, we've had around, I would say, a good 150 people come and participate and benefit from the wealth of knowledge, information, and insights that the CV assessors, the speakers, and the workshop leaders are able to offer them. Like you mentioned, this project it began because of the fact that Europe is going through a very difficult time right now. 5.7 million young people are unemployed, and that's huge.
I'm just looking at some of the statistics here. Then they're pretty shocking. I mean, they're actually worse than I would have envisaged. Greece is up to 61.5% unemployed. I'm talking about young people unemployed. Define a young person, by the way, age-wise.
Well, I would say
under 25, under 30.
We look at it as recent grads, students, and any young person who is unemployed. We don't really limit it to anybody. If somebody's 25, 30, 35, and is still looking for some direction, they can come to the event and benefit from this.
Yeah, it's especially telling. Even here in Belgium, 23.8% youth unemployment. Over the whole EU, 23.7%. So, I mean, the statistics speak for themselves. They are quite shocking. So, obviously, a lot of people would... Obviously, it's extremely important that events like this are held. So, what are the benefits of coming to an event such as this for a young person who needs to get on the right career path?
I think the key and the differentiating factor of this event is that we bring together really strong level professionals, guys coming from human resources, senior managers, directors, who in fact assess CVs on a day-by-day basis and are able to give concrete feedback to young people. What we've done is we've created a sort of mini event within the event, which is actual CV assessments, and the young participants who are currently unemployed are able to sit down with these senior level professionals, HR directors, and get their CV assessed for 20 minutes, be given a really honest, frank feedback on how they can improve, and really just try to apply that over the weeks to be able to then submit a better perfection CV with the hopes that they actually get an interview or get a job.
I think that's quite important for a young person, because a lot of graduates coming out of university, I could speak for myself and countless others, indeed from my home country anyway, that leave college and really don't know what they want to do. They might have done a degree in a certain area, but then they find there are no jobs in that particular area. So it is very, very important that career guidance, the right career guidance, is given to them, especially at, well, not just second level, but third level. Also, I'm joined also by Magali Poublon, who is the director with JCI, the Heart of Europe. Magali, in terms of the people who are coming here, just how important is it that they are given the right guidance when it comes to forging out a career, when it comes to searching for the right career path to be on?
Well, I think attending this event brings them like a fresh, new idea. It brings a different perspective. They get a chance to discuss with high-level people who bring them a new view of the career path. And they get a chance to discuss with no job at the end of the day. It's a neutral conversation that they have. It's proper feedback. And they really get like concrete input from those high-level people who help us for free. We have to mention it. Thanks to them.
Well, that's wonderful that it's pro bono.
Yes, and on top of that, to jump on to what Kamil was saying, on top of getting their CV assessed, what they get is a good networking opportunity. So they really met other people who face the same situations, so they can exchange best practices. They feel supported because they all have the same real situation in front of them. We all live through the crisis at the moment. So it's inspiring, and they get to ask questions at the panel discussion as well. So those people are faced with a difficult situation, they have questions, and I think the panel discussion is also another item of the event that brings added value to the program.
Regarding the profile of the people that came today, in general who come to events put on by JCI, the Heart of Europe, are they mostly Belgian? Are they young expats that come also?
So you mean participants today?
The participants and the people who come looking for advice.
Well, we've made actually raise your hand in the audience today, and like I would say more than 3/4 of the room was international public. Not many Belgians actually attended. I guess this is because we organize it in English, so we really target expats and international EU bubble people at the event. But of course, Belgian people are also welcome. I'm myself a Belgian, so.
And I'm also joined, sitting next to me, by Andrzej Antoszkiewicz, if I've got that right.
Quite it.
Who is a Human Resources Project Officer with NATO. And what's your purpose in coming to today's event?
Right, thanks for the opportunity to sit down. A couple of roles. The first one is I chair the committee that oversees the program for this particular event. And that committee brings together professionals from the HR fields and other public leaders to give these guys some advice and some direction on how to strategically focus the event and to make sure that we can drive the outcomes that we're after. And what are those outcomes? It's about giving these young people an opportunity to better understand the role that they have and the challenge that they have in finding a post. My other role today was to participate in the panel, and that was a very interesting discussion. Indeed, the thing that I think we took away the most was to what extent does the skill, does the work, does the experience that the students have, how can they translate that, and how can they apply that to becoming more competitive? And it's a tough question. It's a tough question here in Brussels because the Brussels market is a saturated market. You see this everywhere, and Brussels is particularly challenging. So what we tried to tell them was, what you pick up here in Brussels is unique, and take it to other parts of Europe and leverage it. Create a value proposition around what you want to do, and make sure that the skills that you have are marketable in the areas where you want to advance.
And I just want to ask you also, do you think, just purely your own opinion, is it a case of, and indeed anyone here who wants to get in on this too, is it a question of people going to university, going to college, and not doing the right degree, or else doing a degree and not finding the right job, and therefore maybe do universities themselves have to tailor their courses to what jobs are available out there? For example, art students, a lot of them go into teaching. I know in Ireland, I can only speak for Ireland, but there are not many teaching positions there. In fact, there's a freeze on it. So what's the point in a student doing an arts degree when there's no jobs there? Should there be more training put into, say, the ICT sector, information technology, where there are jobs available? And should that be pushed from a younger age, put it into second level, start them off at second level? What I mean by second level is the age from 12 to, say, 17, rather than university.
Right, that's a really good question. And it's actually something that countries are grappling with from a science policy perspective and from a manpower planning perspective. I originally come from Canada, and in Canada we have a very similar system to the UK, where you pretty much sign up for whichever degree you'd like to take and then you pursue it. The Germans have a slightly different system where there's more of an alignment between what society needs at any given time and what courses are being offered in universities. I'm kind of mixed on this. I think at the end of the day, people excel in what they most feel passionate about. And so to give them an opportunity to go through the education system to pursue those passions allows them to pick up skills and experience. Where they're applied in the marketplace, I think we had a good discussion today about multidisciplinarity. What's happening right now is there's a shift away from having somebody graduate with a specialized master's and then spend the next 40 years applying that master's or PhD in a particular area. What we're noticing is the real value comes from somebody who has an engineering degree and applies it in HR. Somebody who has a humanities degree and applies it in a high-tech company. Look at the social responsibility work that's being done in the high-tech sector right now. These are all environmental scientists, people with science degrees who are applying that knowledge in an engineering IT environment. It's through these kinds of interactions that we create interesting opportunities that are maybe not the classical ones that we're used to, but huge opportunities for innovation. That's what I call second-order innovation. And I think second-order innovation is where our society is trending to right now.
We're also joined by Laura Gimenez, who is a director also with Your Future in Brussels, JCI, the heart of Europe. And Laura, how do you feel today's event went? Indeed, do you concur with what I was just discussing with Andrzej, that people maybe aren't doing the right degrees or diplomas in their third level education?
Yeah. First, I think today was a great day and things went very well. First, from a very practical point of view and organizational point of view, I think we did a great job in welcoming all these people. And then I think the content was also amazing. It was very promising to me, looking at the program, what we had in there. And I think it happened. And I see the faces of people here getting out of their CV assessments, getting out of the workshops, and they all look happy. So that's really nice. That's why we're doing it, I think. So that's a very good point. And then about the equation between the people training, what we do at university, and then the job market. That's a tough question. I agree that you should also think through it, when you choose your study. Okay, there's your passion, what you like. You should have, not stop to what's going to happen at university. You should already foresee what else, what after university. Is there going to be a job for me with these studies that I want to do? And try to see, try to find the best option there.
To jump onto that, and that goes back to something that was discussed at the panel. As long as you have a dream, a passion, you go for it. And we spend so much time out of the day doing our job that it has to be something we love to do. So if someone loves to do arts, even if there's no arts job, that person will create the path to that arts career, I think.
Is the EU doing enough to tackle youth unemployment? We see the youth guarantee being passed through the Parliament, but in general, is this an issue that is being tackled seriously enough? Magali, to you?
I think we'll see on the long term. At the moment, I don't really have a view. We need to see how the local governments use that youth guarantee. I think time will tell us. It's really early to say.
Okay. Kamil?
What I make, a point that I make very clearly when we speak about what we do as a volunteer organization is we try to fill the gap in between the actual political solution and the impacts that we can make as people trying to do something on the ground. Because, look at the European Union. You have 28 member states trying to find consensus on a particular issue. They found the youth guarantee, they've approved, and that's being implemented in different countries. But look how much time has passed already since the beginning of the crisis, and how much more time will pass with that being efficiently. And I say efficiently because sometimes governments aren't the most efficient actors in executing such programs, before young people will actually feel the impact. So what we do as a volunteer organization is we take action now. We bring together the right people, which are the CV assessors, HR professionals, inspirational speakers, our volunteer networks, in order to drive events, projects like this, to help the young people right now, the people that need immediate support. And those young people, that statistic that we already spoke about, the 5.7 million young people, the EU and the policymakers throw that around. I don't see it as just a simple statistic. I see it as friends, as family, as potential, interns that I meet along the road of life. And when I see those guys suffering and telling me the stories of the struggle, the perpetual internship cycles, I just can't stand around and do nothing about it. And I think that's what we all share in common together with all the volunteers of this project, is that we need to take action now, and we've been doing it, and we will continue to do so until the political solutions are effective.
And are governments behind your campaign also? Have you been dealing with anyone at an official level? Because, this is a wonderful organisation, it's a wonderful event that you have on here, but can more be done at an official level to hold such events as these?
We try to partner with different institutions to help us, because we're a volunteer organization, so we don't really have the resources, to pay for the nicest venues and, to have the nicest catering. And we've been lucky enough to one-time partner with the European Parliament, a particular MEP who gave us an in-kind donation of the European Parliament as a venue. He was an independent MEP, and we try not to take any sides, because as a volunteer organization,
of course, you need them on the side.
Yeah, that can get us into trouble if we take left or right. But all we care about is impact. And so we will partner with the people as long as they believe in this cause and they understand that we're doing it not not to promote any political party, but to make impact. And if the MEP or the politician believes that and supports it in that way, then we will work with them, you know.
Yeah, I'll just add maybe, I think the one key differentiator with this initiative is most initiatives at this level on the policy side are very much geared at a government saying, don't worry, we'll take care of this problem for you. The thing that sets this particular event apart is we're really giving people who are affected the tools that they need to be able to take charge of their own careers, to take charge of their own paths. So that's a very different approach. It's a very entrepreneurial approach. It's a very bootstrap approach, as I like to call it. And I think that's a really different way of looking at the particular problem. If I look at it from the government policy perspective, I think that the next big challenge for the governments in Europe is to look at the innovation gap and the ability to create programs and to create funding that creates innovation incubators. Because it's through that innovation that the next generation of careers and next generation of jobs for this next generation workforce will come into play.
Yeah, just from an outsider's point of view, you're from Canada, so do you think the EU does a good enough job in tackling this problem? And indeed, are there models, not just maybe in Europe, but around the world, that the EU could look to in terms of solving the issue of youth unemployment?
Yeah, I would say there's always more that can be done. We have the exact same situation in Canada in many parts of the work sector. What I think we can look to is what the Americans are doing. Certainly, what the Canadians are doing. There are some very interesting programs there. They're built again around this kind of model that we have here. So how do you train yourself up to become a more attractive commodity? I think Europeans are at a very interesting point where the notion of a career is starting to unravel. And the idea that somebody else is going to plan your job for you is no longer a long-term planning reality. So I think people are starting to realize, no, we have to plan ourselves. We need to make ourselves more attractive, and we need to create the innovation here. And there are lots of tools and lots of lessons to be learned from how the North Americans do it. Certainly in also the Far East as well.
Okay. So sitting patiently alongside us, also waiting to come in, is Fatos Esmaili. Did I pronounce that right? And just Kamil as well. As a result of today's event, Fatos is setting up a Your Future in Kosovo event. Is that correct? Have I got that right?
Yes, we'll try to do with Kamil. I just was speaking before, also with Magali. We have just shared their experience. This is what we need in our country too, because how I was explained to them that in our country we are living with unemployment because we have 40% of general number of unemployment, and we have 60% of young people. Means that they are from 20 to 26, 28, it depends. And this was the reason why I want to speak with them, that they can help us, like young people, to have their experience and to go back to my country and to help my young people to have something like that.
Yes, Magali.
No, I just want to say that he's not the only one. There's a big move behind this. For example, today it was not only in Brussels, it was also taking place in Riga, in Latvia, and it was also taking place in London. So we've got those guys who care about the same issue and who already have it being organized at the moment. And we are now looking into having it in Poland at the end of the month, and we are starting discussions with people in Milan, in Czech Republic, in Slovakia. I mean, we are really going out there. So he's one of the great examples of our future as a campaign.
Fantastic. And just in terms of wrapping things up, you touched on future events. You mentioned Riga, Poland, Milan. What about here in Brussels? Have you any events planned here?
JCITO is always organizing events that help empower young people in the city. We hope to do another one, Your Future in Brussels, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, until
the problem is solved.
Until it's solved, right? Until we can see the effectiveness of government policies, or until business is creating enough jobs so the young people are actually on their road to a career path. But we won't stop, like I said before. We feel it, we feel the need to do it, and we continue to do so until we feel satisfied that we can take a break which I would love to do, and in fact spend more time with my wife and catch up on some beers that I owe Andrzej.
Yeah, I think that sounds good, doesn't it? And speaking of that, the event now is coming more or less to an end, so I don't want to be delaying anybody from going getting a few beers. So I think we'll wrap it up from there. So I'd like to thank Kamil Mroz, Magali Poublon, Laura Gimenez, Andrzej Antoszkiewicz, and Fatos Ismaili. Thank you very much, guys, for speaking with Radio X today. This is Owen Stafford reporting from the HUB for Radio X.
This is Radio X.